So can anyone tell me like what is agile scrum methodology and why is it so popular in the current trend? That's what we gathered from our previous sessions. So the core principle of agile is it adapts the change and it permits the change while on the project as well. That is why it is so popular, and the delivery model is also like you will see real time software in every like little period of time where you will be getting smaller releases over each sprint, and you will be able to see the developed real software while in the course of whole project. Like whereas in waterfall model we won't be able to see a product until the final deployment is done, okay? Or until all the requirements are gathered and the development starts and gets into the testing phase. So let's get into the agile scrum methodology real quick. So we'll see how the agile requirements are written, how what it takes to write agile user stories and everything. So let's jump on to the next slide. So this slide we have already seen in our previous sessions what is an agile methodology and what kind of meetings we'll have, daily stand-ups and retros and everything. So okay, someone is waiting. Okay, no. Okay. So, what is a typically an agile scrum team consists of? If you consider a waterfall model, you will have like a big team of developers and testers, business analysts working on multiple features simultaneously, like doing everything at the same time. And once all the business analysts complete the requirements and they get the sign off from the business with the hundreds of with the tons of pages of business documents, then the developers will take up the tasks and go into the development phase. But in agile everything happens simultaneously, like I was explaining you in the previous sessions, like in agile scrum. So all the stories will be divided into user stories, which are kept into product backlog, and we will plan like 11 or like agile scrum methodology recommends only 11 or 12 sprints per project, which are of size like 2 weeks or 3 weeks. And every 2 week sprint you will be picking some number of user stories from the product backlog, and then take them into that product, take them into the sprint, develop them, test them, and deliver them at the end of each sprint. So here, the team will be tightly coupled and moreover based out of a single location where they should have like close interaction with each other. And sometimes they like from the past 3 4 years due to COVID, everyone is scattered everywhere, but Zoom and teams make the people come closer and talk and discuss together the things on a daily basis, and make them closely sit together for the development or implementation of the product. So product owner, as the name suggests, he'll be the sole owner of the delivered product. Let's say if a company is planning to implement a software product for digital banking, so they will appoint a product owner who will oversee all the development, what all the features need to be implemented. And he sometimes he'll be the part of business, and sometimes they can be like an experienced SME who has, like if it is an insurance product or banking product, anyone from the banking domain outside they can hire as product owner and keep them as in charge of the whole product. So he'll be the one who will be approving the requirements, and he will be the one who will be raising questions if anything is going wrong or if any features are missing, and he'll be overseeing the whole project. And after that you will have scrum master, and a product owner can be handling multiple teams. Let's say if you have a banking application and he is more knowledgeable of everything like personal banking, credit cards, both sections, and there are two scrum teams, one is working on personal banking side and other one is working on the credit card side. Sometimes product owner can be a product owner for both the teams. But the Scrum team or actual development team, which is implementing the project, will be different. No people can work in two different Scrum teams at the same time, and that is against the Agile Scrum principles. Okay, so a product owner can handle multiple projects, but from Scrum Master, all the people will be like allocated to a single team. Let's say we are developing a personal banking application. So personal banking, the team will have a scrum master, like two or three business analysts, sometimes one or two business system analysts. It depends on the project structure and the organization. Some people may not be going with system requirements in the documents, they just go with the functional requirements. So those kind of teams, they may not need a business system analyst, and you will have two to three developers and two to three testers. So whole project team for implementing the project will be around 10 people or under 10 most of the time, and sometimes it may extend to like 11 or 12 people, but not more than that. Okay, going to the next slide. It's about the key principles of agile requirements. So active user involvement is imperative. So user involvement is always desired and always required in order to complete the requirements on time, and people should be readily available, like the project team, also the business team will be closely following the technical team. Whenever we have questions, we can just go approach them, clarify them, and if any change is required, incorporate it before it goes to the developer, and that's the active role of BA to do that. And agile teams must be empowered to make decisions. So sometimes if you have more knowledge on, like if a BSA or business analyst or your scrum master is having more knowledge on the topic, sometimes it is okay to take the decisions and go ahead with the development, but ultimately you should be taking the business approval. But if you are 100% sure, like or 95% sure, sometimes you may be taking the small decisions to go ahead with your project. And requirements emerge and evolve as software is developed. So we will be seeing the real software from time to time, right? If after first sprint you will have a set of features delivered, you can see it in the system. If you open the environments, the in software industry you'll call the local, local software which is developed will be in environments. So for developers to code and test their code, they'll have in dev environments, and they'll use those environments to test the or deploy their software which is developed. And after that, if the developer thinks that he has written the code correctly, and if it passes his unit testing, like I said in the beginning classes, unit testing is nothing but done by developers to make sure that he has coded the given requirements or user stories correctly, right? So when the unit testing is complete, the developer feels it is good, then he'll pass it on to the QA environments. QA environments means they will be used by the QA testers to test the features. So they'll deploy the code written in dev environment which developers feel is working good. Then they'll deploy that code or deploy that chunk of software whatever they have developed till now into the QA environment, and let the QA know that it is ready for testing. So that QA will go on testing. So this all happens in this 2 week sprint time. Okay, if we are taking 4 cards in the sprint, all the 4 cards the developer should complete the coding, and all the 4 cards testers should complete the testing, and by the end of the sprint they should be able to deliver those 4 cards. And BA role acts differently. Let's say if the project is in sprint 2, BA will work in the sprint 1 to write the requirements and take the sign off for the requirements for the stories which are to be developed in sprint 2. Okay, so always the business analyst is a head of developers and QS by one sprint. So if the sprint 1 is starting from like 2 weeks later from today, Now the business analyst will be working on the stories, like 4 or 5 stories, whatever it is. He'll be working, and by the time sprint 1 starts, he will be able to complete the sign off for those requirements and hand it over to the dev team. If there are any requirements pending or user stories pending and not completed, then the BA will not be handing it over. This is called definition of ready in agile terminologies. So when the BA completes his user story requirements and he gets the sign off from the business, then those cards are ready. So those cards are called DOR. DOR means definition of ready. And when it goes to the actual sprint, when the developer does it and the QA tests it, and if there are no bugs or defects identified, then the card will be, our story card will be ready for the release, and that is called DOD. DOD means definition of done. Definition of done is the story card has been coded, it has been very well tested and delivered. Definition of ready means the story card requirements are complete and it is ready to be taken into the sprint for development.